In my previous video, I have given you some useful tips that are the key criteria for ML team success. Now the next step is to find out how will machine learning impact a project timeline. There is no simple equation that can solve for the time it will take to build an ML model. The answer will depend on what data and model is being used and intended accuracy. Machine learning can take significant time from the start of a project through production deployment. Expectations for the amount of time needed to deploy production models can take weeks or even months. As ML becomes integrated within different stages of business, understanding the time it takes to deploy ML models becomes essential for project management. Unfortunately, there isn't an equation that can dictate the time it takes to build and deploy these models. As ML is still in its infancy, deploying models is still not something that happens very quickly. According to Algorithmia's 2020 State of Enterprise Machine Learning, 50% of respondents said it took 8 to 90 days to deploy one model, with only 14% saying they could deploy in less than a week. According to Algorithmia's findings, the maturity of a company's ML program was the biggest factor in determining how quickly they could deploy their models. Having more seniority in the space allows for companies to build up their teams, data, and systems to be able to deploy models quicker. What does a machine learning lifecycle look like? Deploying a model into production requires a proper machine learning deployment architecture involving various teams of ML professionals, software, and machinery. In this blog, we will delve into the action of model deployment and identify the challenges it currently faces. The ML lifecycle typically takes weeks or even months. Regardless of the size of the project or organization, ML lifecycle has to go through 9 key stages. 1. Problem definition. 2. Data exploration. 3. Data preparation. 4. Model exploration. 5. Model training. 6. Model testing. 7. Evaluation. 8. Production deployment. 9. Model update. Will my machine learning model change over time? For a model to predict accurately, the data that it is making predictions on must have a similar distribution as the data on which the model was trained. Because data distributions can be expected to drift over time, deploying a model is not a one-time exercise but rather a continuous process. Continuous monitoring of incoming data can help retrain your model on newer data if the data distribution has deviated significantly from the original training data distribution. When should I update my machine learning model? When you have enough new data, test its accuracy against your machine learning model. If you see the accuracy of your model degrading over time, use the new data or a combination of the new data and old training data to build and deploy a new model. What is a best-case timeline for a machine learning project? The amount of time needed to deploy production models can take weeks or even months. A common misperception is that most of the time is spent in the modeling, training, testing stage. Example business case of a project timeline challenge from a manufacturing. To identify a good problem to solve using ML, assess your machine learning lifecycle and ask these strategic questions. 1. Have you ever had a similar task to your proposed ML solution? 2. Have you explored your data and found faults? 3. Is the performance of models meeting business requirements? Consider a manufacturer that needs to use ML to solve a quantifiable business problem but is concerned about potential delays. The following scenario describes a manufacturing company's objective and poses questions to determine if ML project timelines could be delayed. In this scenario, you are a machine learning consultant for a manufacturing company. They would like some help estimating a timeline for a machine learning solution they are working on. Thanks for coming in today. We have a large database of product images we would like to use in our machine learning model to identify defective products before they are shipped from our plant. The images are gathered automatically by cameras located around the manufacturing line over the last month of operation. If I provide some details on our model, can you help us? We have never attempted a machine learning project before. I'm not sure if I am properly staffed. This being our first time, what potential impact will this have on the timelines for this project? If you haven't done anything similar or you do not have the proper personnel, the project timeline could be affected. Okay. So tackling a complex problem like this while my staff is still ramping up on machine learning will probably increase the timeline. Thank you. I am afraid that we don't have proper labeling on the images we recorded in our database. What potential impact will this have on our project timelines? Take a step back and consult with an expert about properly labeling these images. It will save you time over the long term. That is what I was thinking. Adding labels to the images will allow us to train and deploy the model. Thanks for your insight. We are expanding to a new plant soon with a new line of products. Will this model work seamlessly with the new line? What potential impact will this have on the timelines for this project? The model you train now will need additional time to incorporate the new product line. That makes sense. If we change the business requirements of this model, it's reasonable to expect an increased timeline while we incorporate the new product line. The key takeaway is fundamentally, ML projects are data science projects where there is no known end state. We don't really know if the solution to the problem even exists or not. On the other hand, IT projects are engineering projects where we know the specifications and required end state. Naturally, it is easier to reach a known goal than discovering an unknown destination which may or may not exist. This is the fundamental difference between AI projects and IT development projects that most organizations miss and either overestimate or underestimate the project timeline. If you have come so far and your answer is yes, I have acknowledged and planned your machine learning project timeline properly, then my next question would be, are you confident how you will start your ML journey? This will be covered in my next video. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you have learned something new today. And I will see you in the next one.